Today on Musicians Happy Hour, we are talking to Honora about all things licensing.
Her song, Tearing Us Apart, was recently placed on an MTV hit show, Coach Carter.
We will be discussing how she got her deal, how to find the right people to work with, and how you could get your music on TV.
Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and share the show with anyone you know who might be trying to make it as a do-it-yourself musician.
We will also be adding to links all things Honora down below.
Hey guys, welcome to Musicians Happy Hour. I am Andi.
And I'm Alison.
We are talking with Honora.
Hi guys.
Out of Los Angeles, California. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of music you do?
Love to, and thank you guys for having me. It's always like a difficult question to answer that because I do have a lot of fusion. I grew up classical jazz as a background voice. I love to sing. That's my first art form. But I kind of took those roots. I sang in choirs and cathedrals in Austria and all these places with beautiful acoustics, really, really raw natural acoustics. So I loved this ambient sound. Just a beautiful, you open your mouth this much and sing and like the sound goes. I fell in love with that as a young girl and loved classical and jazz. But I knew that I wanted to create. I'll fast forward to in kind of, I think, 19 or 20 is when I really started to like create, put things onto. I played a little bit of piano, dabbled a little bit, but it was such an amazing thing to actually create stuff. And I had grown up watching a lot of TV shows and I would rather than watch a movie, I'd listen to a movie. I just love soundtracks. To answer your question as far as what style it is, so it tends to come out as, and it will evolve as I continue. I like to work with other artists. Currently I'm involved in a project that has a little bit more electronic than I would have on my own. Okay. I think what I bring to it is a nice, beautiful vocal that has ambience and a little darkness. I have a style for sure. You'd have to listen to the music. I guess if you had to categorize it on like iTunes, ambient, dream pop. Some of the songs come out a little bit more poppy, so like dream pop. It's that kind of, I'm sure if artists are listening that like, soundtrack music or like music, a film, what am I looking for? That watch a show and are like, oh, that's such good music. House had that. All of these cruel shows had really good songs in it. And I think you would know which style it is. It's kind of just its own thing.
Yeah. But I like to consider it like mood music.
Mood.
It just creates mood.
You hit the nail on the head. That's what it is. Moody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would love to hear the story about how you got your song on an MTV show. Amazing.
Yeah, it's surreal too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
That just recently happened. So song placement. I really didn't know how that was gonna happen either. Like I think a lot of artists kind of realize that this is definitely a way to make money in the music business. Right. But how do you get there? There's a million music supervisors out there. I think the tricky thing about it is you kind of do have to know what you're doing. Your song has to be ready. Yeah. So luckily I went to a music school and they, you had to submit your songs in order to get an interview.
Audition?
An audition, exactly.
Yeah.
So you had to submit your songs and you can get an audition with music publishers. So they could sit down and listen to you and give you a contract or not.
Okay.
The cool thing about what I did, I submitted my songs. They would let you know if you went to the next round. And so the school kind of, just to break it down for you, the school had probably a bunch of people submit. They narrowed it down to a few people that they thought were a good fit for the music licensing world because there is a certain sound, more or less. It's a huge variety, but there's there's a specific sound. And so they narrowed it down, and then it was great. They gave you a list of companies that you could choose from. And you could choose to sit with that person and have an interview. And I liked it because I got to see, I chose a smaller company. You got to choose two. I chose a smaller company. They were called the Music Playground. And I liked them because I looked at the other artists and I thought, this is a good opportunity. They're out of New York. They, smaller companies can often be more helpful to you. It's a more personal relationship rather than a bigger company that has 1,000,000,000 trillion artists and you're just in a library on a dusted shelf.
Wow, that is such a good point.
You run the risk of a bigger company probably has more contacts, probably can get the placement quicker, probably can whatever, but yeah, you can be completely drawn out. And in the beginning of my career, I think it's more important to, sit with people that can really represent you as an artist and believe in your project. It's a very personal relationship. So for anybody that's thinking about it, if you have kind of a developed sound that you really believe in and you think that is definitely good for film, I would suggest going with a smaller company because they will have your back if they like your music and will try their hardest to get it placed. And I definitely had that experience with the company that I chose.
Did you know about licensing before this opportunity?
Yeah, I grew up, I listened to a lot of the music in, oh my gosh, House, the OC, if you guys remember that, OC soundtrack on my iPod. And I listened to these artists like Butterfly Boucher and Azar Ray and really cool people that didn't necessarily, I wouldn't bump into the supermarket and know them, but I loved their music and I thought, what an amazing way.
Right.
So yes, I did from a young age, 13, I'm talking 13, 12, 13.
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool. I like this. This is where I want my music to be. Some bands get on stage and just want to party, they just want everybody to breathe and feel the crowd and like get my energy, and like for me, I'm a musician too, but that's the total opposite case. I feel like and I've always felt most comfortable like door locked, candle lit, glass of wine in my bedroom recording. And I know artists too that do the whole stage thing and they're all about performing and they feel like, oh God, I gotta go in the studio, oh my God, and it's just a terrible feeling. So it really, I think it's a case by case basis per artist. For me, it just has always been behind closed door show and because it comes off, my style just naturally is more moody. This is a fun little exercise if you do have songs that kind of sound like they could be good for film. I look at movie trailers, 2015 movie trailer drama. I play the video next to my song, I mute the sound and I just see. I'm just like does this fit? Do I see the picture with the music? And oftentimes if it was, then that's how I reassured myself.
How did you start noticing that your music was better for films as opposed to it being better on stage?
A lot of it has to do with the structure. Like if I try to read a book about songwriting, I don't do that. I do things based on feeling, and I do a lot of progressive music. I think songs that do have moods and specific moods, and we're not talking about jingles. There's so many people that place music in advertisements and shows where it's just a jingle. It's an upbeat thing. That's totally another piece of this.
Right.
But this is a mood that fits well with drama and fits well with, there's tons of series, almost every show has a piece of drama in some respect.
Yeah.
So it's,
So what was the like deal that they offered you? How did that work? And did you get it reviewed by anybody or did you just kind of sign it? You're just like, yep,
don't do that. I was smart enough to, as an artist, you live and you learn. You do things that, and that's what this show is for. We want to avoid that. The good thing is, through the school, I had an advisor and I had a music lawyer actually look at the contract when they offered it to me. Very important. Very important. Actually, when I went to her, she had said, oh God, people have been coming in all week about the licensing and they've been coming in with these deals from the licensing companies. Oh God, I'm scared to look at this. Because more times than not, like I'm saying, this is where it's very beneficial to have the smaller company, because the smaller company isn't necessarily trying to rip you off. They see you as an artist. They see you as an asset. In the interview, you know what's interesting? The MTV show that I got the placement in the interview, she said, I have a TV show blank that I think this would go in, and that's the one it went into. So that's a good person. Now there's a lot of people in this business that are just business. They don't even necessarily care about music. They'll hand you something that says something ridiculous, like we'll get 60, 75% of your placement. You know what, you guys? No. So my advice, I don't know if I'm making any sense, maybe somebody would disagree, but I do think a smaller company that cares about you, giving them, in my case it was 30%. 30%, I'm taking majority. Another big thing is exclusive versus non-exclusive. I will have to say mine was an exclusive, which means only one thing. I couldn't go out and take a specific song that was in their library and give it to another music supervisor. I can do anything else in the world that I want with the song.
So basically whatever you input to them is theirs, but you can take your other art pieces to somebody else.
Exactly. I can perform them. I can do anything I want with it. I can sign another. I said, what if I get a small label that comes along and wants to sign a small record label? Totally fine. You just cannot give this to another, which makes sense. They are my representatives of this piece of music for licensing. At this given time, I signed a year contract. That's it. And I figured I'm working on another project. Why not, rather than these songs being, on my shelf over here, let's at least give it to them and see what they can do with it. If they wanted you exclusively, like, across the board, I don't know that I would do it.
Did you try and look through it all to kind of give your once over, or did you just talk with the music lawyer and said, I don't know what this means, walk me through it?
Well, actually what was nice about them too is the language of it wasn't so horrendous. I could understand what I did, but obviously I took it right to her. And this is another thing I learned. When I had signed, I had 3 songs that I showed her. I only ended up licensing 2 of them. And she said, 2 songs. When you're licensing, it is better to have more of a variety. Just because, when they have their contacts, they send out, weekly, monthly, whatever flyer. They'll put together, fall favorites and songs that sound like fall. Will go in and they'll send it to all their contact list, however big that is. So, the more versatility you have, the more likely you are to get placed. But with that being said, whether you're an artist with 300 songs or you're an artist with 3 songs, you have to do what's best for you. But I think, with that whole exclusivity thing, be cautious. Be cautious. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and then be stuck.
Was there, after the year is up, was there an option to renew it?
There was. There's an option to renew it. I think I might renew this one just knowing that, if I've already been in and I send them more material, my voice isn't changing. The style might a little bit, the sound might a little bit, which is good anyway. But if they know, oh, Honora, I had her on last time. Good. The world of music supervising and music licensing is relatively small, especially in a certain city, especially for this one show. It's like once these supervisors find a sound that they like, an artist that they like, easy. Okay. I mean, you don't understand. They do 17, 20 songs per show of snippets. They need a lot of material, and it's just.
Have you noticed an increase in popularity since your song was featured, more Facebook likes?
Facebook too tells you all of your analytics, so it'll even tell you when you have a new view. So I've definitely had a lot more views for sure. I haven't looked at the actual peaks in it, but for sure if Facebook follows. MTV retweeted my post saying that my song would be on. It's just such a great way to get exposure. And at the same time you're getting paid to do what you love. You get a nice check from MTV that says we definitely used your song, and every time it's replayed, you get the royalties. So and again, it's a small little world, and it just keeps perpetuating. And this is how this world works: is you just keep building. You keep building your little portfolio, and it's kind of fun.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope today's conversation helped make you a more business savvy musician.
Please send us any topics or questions you may have, and until then, cheers!